If you're equal parts a fan of classic Yakuza crime drama and hot chicks in bikinis on motorcycles, you don't even need to watch the rest of this video. Go down to the description, use my Amazon Associates link, buy Ryuko Volume 1. It is for you. Ryuko by Eldo Yoshimizu is what I would describe as like a very pure story. It pretty much is no frills, guns blazing, right out the door. You got hot girls shooting each other, leading Yakuza gangs, and, quests for vengeance, big emotions, everything you'd expect from a classic, over-the-top, dramatic crime spectacle piece. The main draw, sort of, is that it happens to have a bunch of hot girls on motorcycles, in bikinis, and other such things. With, I must note, these really cool, like, 70s-esque character designs, which is what drew me to this manga right away. Just seeing the fact that the characters had such a classic style, something that kind of reminds me of, like, Leiji Matsumoto's artwork, but, applied to this, I won't even really say hyper-sexualized. The girls are all really hot, and they're all scantily dressed most of the time, but, like, this is by no means a fan service manga, except for in the sense that, like, just baseline, if you think, hot girls in bikinis shooting guns is cool, you'll be into it, but, like, it's not played for laughs. It's certainly a straight-faced crime thriller. Like, the main character, Ryuko, is the leader of, like, a Yakuza gang. All of the dealings take place in the underworld, and the emotions are over the top throughout this manga. The art style is very interesting in that most of it is big, two-page spreads, just huge images, really crazy action, and, like, this brushstroke look where sometimes it can be honestly confusing, like the page layouts can be dizzying. It kind of reminds me of the Batwoman comic that J.H. Williams III drew. I know nobody's read that, but I'm a huge fan of it. I won't say the art in this is as strong as that, but it is really interesting the way that pages kind of have this spiraling feel to them. Like, you're taking in so much information all at once, and the brushstrokes are just going completely insane. It's very emotional artwork, which is why I again say that the emotions read so big, so larger than life, because everything about the artwork is so goddamn intense, and there's so much going on. It's very, very fast paced, to an extent where you're almost like, I haven't really even gotten to know these characters yet, but I've already seen them doing so many different things painted into all these scenarios. The main thrust of the storyline is essentially that Ryuko, when she was young, was separated from her mother, told her mother was killed. She blamed her father for the circumstances surrounding it, eventually killed him and took over his gang. But now she's sort of unraveling the mystery of the truth of what happened to her mom, what was really going on with her dad. All kinds of government stuff is tied up in it. There's like a lengthy part in this that is set in like the war in Afghanistan, where like one of the characters is a former soldier from that war, and I think Ryuko fought in it as well herself when she was very young. There's like lots of just like, weird guerrilla military factions and crazy crime syndicate stuff. Like, it's all that like super high level crime stuff. If you read like Black Lagoon, it's like that, but less campy, less, obviously there's some camp in the fact that the girls are in bikinis and everything, but like, it's a lot more serious in how it carries itself. It's much more of a again, I keep saying classically styled crime drama because this thing really is very straightforward. Something that interests me about it is the publication, because this is printed and published by Titan Comics, who, as far as I know, have never done any other manga. Most of what they have released has been like tie-in comics to various popular franchises. So it was surprising to see a manga released by Titan Comics, but it seems as though the reason it's released through them is because it is on this imprint Hard Case Crime, which is not a part of Titan Comics. Titan Comics just facilitates the publication of their physical releases, I guess. But Hard Case Crime is an imprint that basically releases crime novels from like the mid 1900s. Just everything from an era where like pulp crime novels were all the rage, I suppose. You know, it's, if you just look at the cover arts of the stuff on their website, you get a pretty clear image of like what kind of stories they're publishing, and also modern stuff that is inspired by that stuff. So, you know, if you go to their website, it mostly seems like they publish novels. Ryuko, as far as I know, is also their first manga. So this is like a really interesting release in those senses, and also in that the artist, Eldo Yoshimizu, is not just a manga artist or even primarily a manga artist. He is a sculptor who's created all kinds of installations in Japan. He's done just all kinds of interesting work that you can see on his website. And this manga has had, like, the characters and the artwork of the character has shown up in museums. Like, he's done a bunch of art installations of the artwork of Ryuko, I suppose before it was even a manga. But the manga was also, it's been released in France. I've seen, like, TV trailers for it or something over there. So yeah, it's an interesting release from an interesting artist that, you know, took me down some unexpected pathways researching it. But the manga itself, I enjoyed it mostly for the uniqueness of the artwork and character designs. Like, I love the way all the girls look. I love just the sheer hard-boiledness of it. I love how interesting the page layouts are, even though I did sometimes find them confusing. I would say story-wise, like, I am not a huge crime fiction genre guy. Like, I think it's cool. I like to see, you know, as it's described on the back, a raw blast of babes, bullets, and blood. That's exciting to me. But, like, it is very much, like, in the vein of a certain type of story. Like, I think you're gonna know if you're the audience for this, like, right away. If what I've described sounds like something you would love, you definitely should read it, because it is cool and it is badass. And I mean, if you just like action stuff, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people will get more out of this than I did, which it surprised me that I wasn't, you know, I wasn't as mega into it as I kind of expected, just because, you know, as much as I love the design work, some of the art was just, like, baffling. Like, I really had to stare at it for a while to fully understand what was going on, and the story moves so quickly. It's definitely not one that likes to, you know, dwell on the characters and, like, you know, slowly get to know them. It's just, like, blasting through plot. So, yeah, I think this will definitely fit a lot of, like, Americans' sensibilities better than it would have fit mine. But I think it's very cool. I definitely recommend it if you're the crowd that would be into it. Again, there's an Amazon Associates link in the description where you can buy the thing. I don't have much else to say about it. On the next episode, though, I'm actually going to be covering a manga that doesn't have a physical release in English yet. I fucking just ended up reading this manga on the internet like a normal manga reader, and it's one that I think a lot of people are excited about at present, called Spy X Family, a manga that's running in Shonen Jump Plus. You can read the first 3 and latest 3 chapters of it for free on mangaplus.com. Unfortunately, the rest of the chapters aren't in there, which I'll talk about when I do my video. You're gonna have to turn to piracy because of the fact that there is no physical release yet. Speculated to have been picked up by Viz, but whatever. Spy X Family on the next episode. Stick around, and I'll see you then.